Faith without works is dead, but faith with works equals the grind. Welcome to the Boss Grind Podcast.
I like the way you do business.
Hey family, it's J. Anthony Smith here with the Boss Grind Podcast, where we talk to Black business owners about what it takes to be successful as they examine their journey from beginning to where they are now. So our guest today is a young lady that I've known for many years. She is Dr. Tiffanie Garrison Jeter, the owner of the Definition Dental Studio, and she's going to talk to us about her pathway to success. Hello, Tiffanie. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you again for being a guest on this podcast. So we're just going to basically go into, like I said, what it took for you to get from where you are, where you were, to where you are now. So just kind of tell us about yourself.
I'm a Nashville native, raised in Nashville. I always had a desire ever since I was little as an interest in the medical field. So I battled between being an OBGYN and being a dentist. And then as I did my research, I was like, okay, babies come at any time, any hour of the day. And I like my sleep. And then with dentistry, you don't have to do a residency after dental school unless you want to specialize. So I just decided to pursue dentistry as a career.
That is great. That is great. And also, we want to thank you for being a veteran. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. So I got a scholarship from the Army when I was in dental school. So they paid for dental school for 4 years, and then when I graduated from dental school, I became an Army dentist. So I served in the U.S. Army active duty for 5 years, and then I got out of active duty, and I've been in the Guard for about 6 years now.
Wow, that is great. That is like a great opportunity to use what you have to get where you want to go. So that's So would you, I know this wasn't one of the questions, but it just happened to come up. Would you recommend that some people take the military route to get to their path of success?
Absolutely. If you are a debt-averse individual like I am, I definitely recommend pursuing any options that you can to not have to be in debt for dental school. I had an academic scholarship for undergrad, so I didn't have any loans or any debt for undergrad. And so I got to dental school, and I'm like, oh, it's like almost $500,000 of money that it takes to go to dental school because you can't work while you're in dental school because it's just too strenuous. So I was like, $500,000, sign up for the military it is. So and I had a good experience. I learned a lot so that coming out of school, I didn't have to worry about where am I going to work because I already knew I was going into the military. So there was a job that was there. They had state-of-the-art facilities, equipment, supplies. So you got to learn all the up-to-date and new technology. You didn't have to worry about if your patients could pay for the needed treatment or not because it was all covered. So it allowed me to be debt-free. It allowed me to learn because, when you get out of school, you're slow. So you don't have to worry about, somebody pressuring you to produce. So it gave me time to learn. And I think it gave me an edge over my peers because when I got out of the military and I decided that I wanted to open up my own practice, I didn't have any student loan debt deterring me from pursuing my dream to start up my own practice.
Man, that is a great story right there by itself. I mean, a lot of people go to school and start their business and they have so much debt with school and other areas. And there was a great opportunity that you didn't have to deal with a lot of that. So that definitely, like you said, kind of put you above a lot of other entrepreneurs out there. So that's a great resource. So let's talk about, how did you come up with the name of your company?
So my husband and I were brainstorming at the kitchen table about names for my practice. I didn't want it to be named after me because I just didn't. So we were just going on like what my mission was and what I wanted to portray in my practice. And so we came up with Definition Dental Studio because my motto or mantra is define your smile, discover your confidence. So definition, define, that's how we came up with Definition Dental.
Well, that's good. It definitely matches. I've watched you on social media with a lot of postings, and I'm like, man, if I was back in Nashville, I'd definitely be one of your clients, get some changes done.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. So what's unique about Definition Dental Studio?
So I combined my own personality of what I like and what I want to pursue. I combine that into my practice. So a typical, general dental practice is literally just dentistry, drilling and filling and sending them on their way. But my personal goal is I like to educate my patients about overall health and wellness. And so I incorporated that and then the things that I like, being confident, feeling good in your own skin and other beauty type of procedures, I incorporated that into my practice. So my nickname is Dr. Mrs. Pretty. So I incorporated all those pretty things, those feeling confident things. I incorporated that into my practice. So not only do I do general dentistry like crowns and fillings and extractions and partials and that kind of thing, but I also delved into facial aesthetics. So I do Botox, I do fillers, I do collagen induction treatments, different things like that. As a private practice owner, I'm able to incorporate what I want to into my practice.
Okay. So that's definitely a key to most entrepreneurs, that you design your business around what you want to do so you can have a lot of control over how you expand and grow the business.
Correct.
That's good. That's good. So what's been the hardest part about running a business?
The hardest part about running a business, I think, is that there's never a day where I get to just, okay, the day is over. I get to put it on the shelf and then I get to go home and not think about it. There is never one of those days for me as a single practitioner or single business owner. Like I don't have a partner in the business with me. I'm the sole owner of my business. And so that's the hardest part, never being able to put it down. I'm always in entrepreneur grind mode. I'm always thinking about something. So I think to me, that's been the hardest part because I have multiple other roles that I play, wife, mom, sister, active in the church and different community service, different things that I do. So I feel like it's a lot of pressure because I am always thinking about my business because I have to.
Have you ever given any thought to having a partner, or would you, looking at where you are now, would you have changed it to have a partner to open up?
I think that in having a partner, it's literally like a partner, like how you choose your spouse and you married to them. It's the same thing with having a partner in business. And I haven't courted anyone that I think that I would want to make that lifelong commitment with for me. I think it works for a lot of people, but I'm a dominant, want it my way kind of girl. So that's how it's gonna be. But I think hindsight 2020, I probably would have um, opened up like a smaller space. So I have like a lot of space because I was thinking in my mind, okay, I'm thinking growth mindset. But now that I'm into it and how I'm operating, I probably would have started with a smaller space. So I have 5 operatories in my practice, but I currently only, built out and used 3. So I think maybe I would have did something a little smaller scale, hindsight 2020.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Like I said, as an entrepreneur, that's probably one of the first decisions a lot of people make. Do they want to do this by themselves, or do they want to have a partner or somebody to come along with them as they start the business? So it does take into consideration what type of person that you are individually. Are you a domineering type of, hey, I gotta have it my way, or I like things my way? It's best to be a solo entrepreneur. But if you're a person that, hey, well, you know what, let me consider somebody else's thoughts, then you might be a partner, or more than one person open up the business. So that's a definite key in the quest for entrepreneurship. Do you want to do it by yourself, or do you want to have somebody to take the process along with you, kind of thing? So
And that's also part of your exploratory process when you're starting your business plan is, those asking yourself those type of questions in those different scenarios. Or also when you're doing your numbers, can your business support, you know, funding 2 people, or not? Like I started my practice from scratch. So I had literally 0 patients that I started from. And so, those are different things you have to consider when you're doing your, exploratory process. Also, when you're a female and you're still childbearing age, you have to think about, okay, do I want, more kids? Who is going to take over? Or what's going to happen, if I decide to, have a kid during this time period, which I did. And so that was something that I had to, wasn't planned, but I had to maneuver and, figure out maternity leave and keeping your business going. So those are different things that you have to consider during your exploratory phase and your when you're thinking about opening up your own business.
That's great. We appreciate that. Well, hey guys, this conversation is really getting deep and getting more involved as we go along. But we're going to take a quick 2 to 3 minute break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk to Dr. Jeter more about her business process and the way that she's doing things and how she's getting to where she is now. So right after these messages, we'll be right back.
Definition Dental Studio, your #1 resource for composite bonding, teeth whitening, porcelain veneers, composite veneers, clear aligner orthodontics, and cosmetic injectables. Schedule your personalized consultation to see if any of our top procedures are a match to help you reach your smile goals. Definition Dental Studio, your #1 resource for a great smile.
We're back. So we've been talking with Dr. Jeter about the process and the steps that she has taken to become this solo entrepreneur and what the ups and downs that she's gone through in this process. So we're just going to jump right into it and keep going with these great questions. So Dr. Jeter, what has changed in your life since becoming an entrepreneur?
What has changed? I have another kid, as I mentioned before. So I have a son. He'll be 2 in November. So having a kid while being, like I said, a solo entrepreneur that's definitely something that changed. I already had one kid, but she, pretty much self-sufficient because she's 9 years old. So that definitely changed the dynamic of things because I used to be open 4 to 5 days a week. But then towards the end of my pregnancy with my son, I went down to 3 days. And after he was born, I was like, hey, I'm more productive on 3 days. So I'm going to keep this 3 days. So those changes allow me to see that I don't have to be, open or, present at my practice for 4 to 5 days. So that's changed for me. Employees has changed. It's been a up and down wave with employees, especially, since COVID happened, because my practice was barely open 1 year before COVID happened. And so COVID happening definitely impacted me as a dental provider.
Gotcha. Now, you also mentioned as far as with your marriage and your husband. So how has that process involved in your business as far as being married as well?
So before I decided to start my own business, that was a conversation that he and I had to have. Like, hey, okay, I'm starting this business from scratch. That means you got to hold down the household. So your partner has to be in agreement and support. What it is that you're trying to achieve and what that entails. Different. Some people are different. Like some people, before they start whatever their business is, they have like a nest egg of savings or whatever they want to do that they start saving towards to put aside for their business. Some people decide to do their business part-time and then have another business part-time as well. So those different types of financial discussions, you and your spouse, me and my spouse, we had those discussions and how much you're going to be away or not be away and what that other person is comfortable with. Those are conversations that we had, like I said, during the exploratory time before the business was started and open.
Good. Like I said, as we kind of talked a little previously, these are situations and conversations that you need to have before you launch into that business, because once that business starts, it's like there's no going back. You got to move forward and accept the changes and things that come along. So like you said, that exploratory phase is a very important phase for any business owner, because at that point, you may not know everything, but you can kind of at least plan and see, well, if this happens, we can go this way, or if this happens, we can go that way, so that, it doesn't fail within the first couple of weeks of you starting. You got to really sit down and maximize and see exactly what it takes for that business, whatever that business may be, in order to be successful.
Yes, I always say, if you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. You got to plan.
There you go. That's it. So in that process, what has been some advice that you wish you would have received when you first started?
Let me see. That's a good question. I just really feel like you're not going to know every single thing, and I didn't know everything. And so I think it's part of the growth and the learning process. You learn and you grow based off of your mistakes. So you have to make mistakes to know, what to not do, the next time. So I really feel like if, if I decided to open up another practice or buy into another practice, I kind of know what to do and what not to do because of the experience that I've had doing this thing. So I really can't um, pinpoint per se something that I wish I would have known because I feel like it's all been a learning process and a growth process for me.
Gotcha, gotcha. So what's been, the best part about you running your business?
The best part would be operating on my own terms and doing the type of dentistry that I want to do. Because when I got out of active duty, I went into working at a corporate dental practice. And I wasn't practicing the way that Tiffanie wanted to practice. I was practicing the way that the corporate dental, model wanted me to practice. And it really wasn't my thing. So to be able to practice on my terms, educate my patients, talk to my patients, that's really that's the icing on the cake for me. Like I love interacting with my patients. I love making them feel comfortable and partnering with them in their oral health. And so being able to do that in my practice has been the best thing for me.
That's good. That's good that you had that experience of working in a corporate environment outside of your own to kind of help cement in your mind, hey, this is not me. I work best doing my own thing. There's
Right. And it's like you have to be, have your own business. You get to be your own self. So, I'm not for everybody and everybody isn't for me. And so, and when that's not, and you own your own practice, you can plain tell somebody this is not a good fit. And maybe you should find an office that, would better fit for you or provide that better fits for you and vice versa. So I think that's the beauty of it that I like because I'm not forced to see anybody that I don't want to see or that's not a good fit because those when you have a not a good fit, sometimes things will never just work out well as they should. And so I like having that autonomy.
Gotcha. Good, good. So, what's been one of the most memorable situations you've encountered during your business practice?
So I had a patient who is a special needs patient. His moms came to my practice, so they were coming, and then they mentioned that they had a son who that they wanted to bring in. He was special needs. I was like, okay, it's fine, no biggie. So he comes in the first visit and we get his X-rays and I get in his mouth and we have our visit and then I bring him back to the front and his mom was like just overjoyed because she said that no one else was ever able to get through a visit with him. And so that was awesome. And so he's been coming to the practice maybe 3 or 4 years. And so he'll say, yeah, I'm coming to see my friend, Dr. Tiffanie. And so it just brought me so much joy to be able to play that pivotal role in his life. Because he allows me to use the instruments in his mouth and scrape and do things. And, he never allowed anybody else to do that. So it made me feel special. It made me feel honored and privileged. It just made me feel just a very memorable moment for me. So every time I see him, I'm excited. His parents are excited. He's excited. It's just it's a very good feeling. It's a very good thing.
Man, that's amazing. That's great. I guess that's to say, when you are an entrepreneur, you may have some good days and you may have some bad days, but it's those moments, those where you're actually touching somebody that kind of helps you
Yeah,
push you along to say, you know what, this is what I was meant to do. This is what I'm doing it for, kind of thing.
exactly.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, Tiffanie, thank you so much for your time and sitting down with us and talking with us about your process. So, how can people reach you?
I'm on most social media platforms. I'm on Facebook at Definition Dental Studio. I'm on Instagram at Definition Dental Studio. And I'm on TikTok at Definition Dental Studio. So if you're looking for educational videos, funny videos about oral hygiene, health and wellness, you can look for me on TikTok on those handles at Definition Dental Studio. And then our website it's www.definitiondentalstudio.com. You can learn information there. You can book appointments there, those kind of things.
That's great. So last question. So what do you want people to remember about your business?
What I want people to remember about Definition Dental is that we are not your typical dental practice. We're a judgment-free zone. So you're not going to come into the practice and feel like the doctor is up here judging you and, being down on you. It's a partnership. And so I want you to be a partner in your care. So you do your part, I do my part. We engage together to come up with a plan that best suits you. So not your typical judgmental, stick in the mud, dentist and dental practice. That's not me.
That's great. That is great. Well, again, thank you, Tiffanie, for your time and sitting down talking with us, giving us insight into what it takes to be successful on your own terms, doing your own thing, and then receiving those results, those responses, touching people on a more personal level. So again, thank you so much. So
Thanks for having me.
yes, thank you. So that ends our podcast for today. Again, we thank Dr. Jeter for her time, and definitely come back next week when we have another great interview with an entrepreneur as they go on their pathway to success. So this is the podcast, J. Anthony Smith with the Boss Grind Podcast. Have a great day. Faith without works is dead, but faith with works equals the grind. Welcome to the Boss Grind Podcast.
I like the way you do business.